on parent visiting day, so I made sure to raise my hand to answer all the teacher's questions.
Nanako, you told that story 3 times already.
Nanako, I'm drunk.
No, I didn't.
Nanako, who had been talking nonstop throughout dinner, sulks at Dojima-san pointing that out. Whether or not she'll admit it, though, I've definitely heard that story several times. Either parent visiting day made her that happy, or she was looking for any excuse to prolong our conversation. Well, whichever it is, Nanako seems happy, so I don't mind much.
Oh, and guess what? I saw a really long car yesterday.
A really long car? That rings a bell. She must be talking about that extravagant black limousine that Mitsuru-san and her shadow operatives drove in on.
You mean the limo that was driving around town? Yeah, I heard about that. A big stretch limo in a sleepy little town like ours. I'll tell you one thing. They won't be from around here.
Dojima-san shoots me a glance while responding to Nanako's comment. He's a detective through and through, and I think he's noticed something's up. Sure enough, after Dojima-san sends Nanako to the sink with the empty dishes, he gets right down to business.
So, what are you up to this time?
I love how this is post-Persona 4, so Dojima's just like, dude, what the fuck are you up to now? What's going on? There's no hiding anything from that piercing gaze. He has to know we came in contact with Mitsuru-san's people. They were so dignified seeming that I had hoped even their outrageously long limo wouldn't stand out here, but I find myself actually relieved to be mistaken.
The day you were due back, a detective from the Metropolitan Police Department suddenly rang me up to ask about the details of that case. Not only that, but I saw that Shirogane kid at the station several times these past couple of days. Was this all just a coincidence?
Quote unquote.
That's...
Can't answer, huh? Well, that's fine.
Dojima-san gives a deep sigh and closes his eyes. That's odd. Normally he'd grill me for more information and yell at me while doing it.
Look, I trust you, but this is different. Don't stick your head into the lion's den. You do understand that I'm a detective and pretty much your guardian while you're here, right?
And if you go in the lines, then Ken Shamrock will be after you. There's a deep reference that no one else will get, probably. His strict yet honest gaze asks me to promise that much in return for not probing me further. I say yes, but in my mind, I'm apologizing at the same time. We're heading into dangerous waters, but it's the same as the situation when I lived here. We have to be the ones to do this.
So long as you understand that. Then do whatever you want.
Do whatever I want. I can't help but smile at seeing Dojima-san look away and sigh. I almost said Dojima sigh. I'm sure that he has a million questions about everything I'm doing, but he's not asking them. It's because he trusts me.
Hey, you're picking on Big Bro again, Dad.
No fighting.
Oh, no, not at all. We were just talking.
Really, Big Bro?
yeah, there's nothing to worry about.
I'll always be on your side, okay?
The dude was like, oh man. When I answer her with a smile, Nanako looks at me with a worried expression, but her reply is earnest. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see Dojima-san looking uncomfortable, and I can't help but laugh again. As we fade to black. Here's my room with my nice Jack Frost doll, that random mech, my Catherine poster, and other stuff just scattered around the room. At least I'm not like Yosuke and have Nickelback CDs just lying around. When I return to my room, I can hear the faint rumble of thunder in the distance. The rain that was pouring down this evening has already stopped. If the pattern holds, the Midnight Channel should stay quiet as long as it's not raining. Realizing that raises some complex feelings in me. I have to go back home tomorrow. And as much as I hope nothing happens, I want to resolve this mystery while I'm still here. But wishing to solve the case means wishing for something to happen.
Make up your mind, you.
It's kind of like a pun there. I inadvertently glance towards the TV screen's reflective surface and catch myself with an odd smile on my face. just a little longer until midnight. Out of habit, I check the time, and the moment I look back at the TV, the screen suddenly turns on. Insert cutscene here.
The strong win, while the weak disappear. Tonight, we will witness the hottest battles in all history. The goddess of victory is waiting to descend upon the ring. P1 fans, are you ready? Are you ready?
Time to let loose an all-out war!
The contestants in the previous P1 Grand Prix have returned for another tournament, right on the heels of the last one. These warriors will create another legend here at the world-shattering P1 ring! These are battles of honor, battles of will. Sparks will fly. Some fight for pride, some fight for glory. Will this be decided by pure muscle, or will a battle of wits determine the outcome? Things are heating up! Tonight, who will win the title of champion? Who will be crowned with the winner's wreath? Whose tale of glory will resound for generations? All that remains are the dreams of the warriors. As the Grand Prix plunges into its final chapter, the P1 climax is...
Barely getting started!
Did you see that? What the hell?
Hello? Hey.
Huh? What's going on here?
What in the world? The town! A red fog?
What the?
Yoo-hoo! All you P1 crazies out there, sorry about the long wait.
Now you see the exposition and reasoning of what's going on, at least so far. The TV shows a familiar classroom. If I remember right, that's the announcement room at the school. Lab was created inside the TV world during the P1 Grand Prix. Standing in that announcement room is General Teddy. Actually, just his head chortling away. Chortling? Whatever.
The P1 climax! It's the end of the world! One-on-one death match that's worthy of the name Climax! And best of all, if you don't win the one-on-one tournament to the finish within the hour, the world will end! No punches pulled this time!
So your prototypical Persona storyline.
I'll make myself clear so that no one misunderstands. This will not be taking place within the TV world. It will, in fact, take place in the reality which you occupy. Enjoy it while you can. Alrighty then. Time to show off how that special stage is going.
Poor Persona 3 characters, they always get crucified, it seems.
Is that Mitsuru-san?
Like, once would be enough. I mean, like, that happens in Persona 3, but then twice, I mean, it's kind of fucked up.
What will be the fate of our captured queen and her loyal minions? Then again, if we don't have a champion, everyone's a goner anyway. So she'll be in good company. Best of luck to all of you.
The display cuts off abruptly, and the TV becomes a silent box. Realizing that a strange red light is filling the once dark room, I dash towards the window. The town outside is covered in an eerie red fog.
What is that?
The streetlights are off, and I don't sense anyone's presence. That hazy light illuminating the town is the red fog? Seeing the town in such an obviously abnormal state snaps me back to my senses, and I quickly look back into my room.
Nanako! Dojima-san!
No one answers. I rush down the stairs and check all the rooms, but no matter how hard I look, the two who live here are nowhere to be found. What in the world is going on here? The P1 climax? Are Mitsuru-san and her people really captives? And worst of all, this isn't the TV world. Is this really still the real world? I mean, yes, we're actually on the MTV reality show. If so, what's happened to the townspeople? A wave of confusion and fear crushes over me as I sort through the information at hand. My cell phone won't even turn on, like it's suddenly broken. It's like an EMP went off. It's happening again.
The Junes Food Court.
That's right. Whenever we had a case, that's where we'd always gather. If Yosuke, Chie, and Yukiko have noticed this too, then they'll definitely be headed there. Teddy should be with Yosuke, so there's no need to worry about him. Kanji, though, he might head straight into the TV. I chuckled to myself at the thought, a rare moment of humor in this looming crisis. I know where I need to be, so I quickly prepare myself. Whenever we needed to fight, I was always clad in my Yasagami High uniform. To think that I'd be wearing it again so soon. It's with a sense of trepidation that I opened the front door. To be continued. It's kind of saying something that we're like nearly 40 minutes in, and now we're just finally getting done with like all of the prologue, and I guess that's technically the first chapter and all that stuff too, so. And now we get the big choice of, do we want to play as Rise or Naoto? Which they're both kind of 2-chapter things, so we'll just go with Naoto first. And then move our way over to Rise. The clock's ticking echoes through the room. The clock's ticking echoes through the room, and I look up from the file I hold. It seems I yearned for some mental stimulation to distract me from the sheer volume of information I'm attempting to process. But when I look up, all that's before me are the tall stacks of files I brought in from the reference room. Even when I cooperated with the investigation as a detective, I'd only been in this room a few times. They must have ushered me into the drawing room on the highest floor of Inaba Station today in order to send a message. Don't draw attention to yourself. I lower my hat to rest my eyes and spent some time thinking back on the conversation I had a short while ago. Flashback.
I see. In other words, nothing suspicious is apparent in the current Kirijo group.
Correct. There are no factors that would necessitate detouring Mitsuru Kirijo or the shadow operatives which she leads.
The man holding my report falls silent, pondering something. His reaction shows that he most likely foresaw what sort of report I'd hand in. The well-dressed man before me belongs to the National Police Agency, Security Bureau, Security Planning Division. That's a mouthful, or in brief form, the Public Safety Police. Alright. It was he who requested the undercover investigation into Mitsuru-san's shadow operatives.
Mitsuru Kirijo seemed to have some idea who stole her cargo, yes?
She did indeed. To begin with, the culprit knew the contents of the cargo which even Miss Kirijo herself did not fully understand. It follows that the culprit in this case was someone with intimate knowledge of the Kirijo group's dark secrets. How Mitsuru Kirijo deals with this culprit will surely shed more light upon her true motives.
Half of that is true. and half is sophistry. Sophistry. Yeah, sure. I need to discover the trump card that public safety is hiding. For most likely, that does not seem remotely correct, like phrasing. For most likely, that trump card will lead us to the culprit of this case, the one who stole Labrys and threw her into the TV world. After a moment of silence, the man places a stack of thick folders before me. If he had prepared this in advance, that means he was weighing his options. He knows of my intentions, yet he must have made a decision that what they stand to gain is worth the risk.
Report to us again when you find out more.
With that, the man leaves the room. Seems my gamble paid off.
Whether I find out more or not, it's certain that something will happen.
Labrys' kidnapper hasn't been caught, and the case is ongoing. Even now, there may be developments somewhere. My friends on the investigation team must be having a strategy meeting at that food court around now. Though it's been a while since any of us have seen you, Senpai, so the conversation may have already digressed. Sighing, I force aside the twinge of loneliness and drop my gaze to the file that my gamble won.
The Kirijo Ergonomics Research Laboratory. An organization specializing in research upon shadows.
What I demanded of public safety was an investigative document on a Kirijo Group Research Institute which no longer exists. The founder of that institute was Mitsuru-san's grandfather, Koetsu Kirijo. We'll go with that as the pronunciation. The contents of that report were filled with matters that were hard to believe. The Dark Hour, a different world populated by shadows that seems to intrude on the real world. The mysterious, almost alien artifacts known as plumes of dusk that can induce a personality. Humanoid robots called anti-shadow suppression weapons that were developed to oppose shadows. Artificial persona users who gained their abilities with special drugs. Had I not seen Aiga-san and Labrys with my own two eyes, the supernatural contents of this file would seem ludicrously implausible.
A flood of shadows and the manifestation of personas. There are many similarities to what we experienced. The chief difference is that their catastrophe was artificially induced in the name of research.
I sense an unwavering commitment to duty from Mitsuru-san and her team. Though they, like us, are persona users, the horrors in this file must be why I detected a very different type of resolve from them.
I hesitate to look into such matters without their consent, but I doubt they would volunteer much.
From what I can deduce based on this, the culprit in Labrys' case is without a doubt related to Kirijo and Ergo research. The clue that leads to the truth has to be here. And if by chance something were to happen to Mitsuru-san and her people, we would need to know more about our common enemy.
Shuji Akutsuki took the position of chairman at Gekkokan High after Ergo Research was disbanded. Mitsuru-san went there. Deceased in 2009. Cause of death, falling from the school's observatory. Was it suicide? No listed family.
There is no other information in regards to him in the document I gained from public safety. The simplicity of the section in regards to this Shuji Akutsuki, an obviously important person, oddly left an impression on me. And probably all his puns too.